Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha television. You're watching the news tonight with me, Frank Razan Pereira. Here are the headlines. March 31st deadline for linking Aadhaar to phones and bank accounts extended. Supreme Court says no need for linking till Constitutional Bench delivers judgment. Despite non-stop disruptions, Rajya Sabha creates a record 11 Parliamentary Standing Committees table 38 reports. Proceedings stalled in both houses for the 7th day. Rajya Sabha chairman reiterates appeal to members to refrain from displaying placards and banners. Two Congress MLAs expelled, 11 other party MLAs suspended from the Telangana Assembly for the entire session. Action taken a day after a party MLA threw headphones at the Legislative Council chairman during the governor's address to the joint sitting of the legislature. India will eradicate tuberculosis 5 years ahead of the global deadline of 2030, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Launches nationwide campaign to end the disease in the national capital. And RBI scraps bank guarantee instruments like the letter of undertaking and letter of comfort for future. Decision in line with its attempts to plug loopholes and improve credit norms of banks. Well, the Supreme Court has extended the March 31st deadline for mandatory linking of Aadhaar to avail various services and welfare schemes run by the government. The relaxation will be effective till the Constitution Bench delivers a final verdict on the validity of the 12-digit biometric Aadhaar number and its enabling law. The extension of the deadline would also apply on the mandatory linking with the bank accounts and mobile phone numbers. A 5-judge Constitution Bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra extended the deadline after the centre said it had already submitted that they were ready to extend the March 31st deadline. On December 15th last year, the Apex Court had extended the deadline till March 31st for mandatory linking of Aadhaar with various services and welfare schemes. Well, the upper house could not transact any business on Tuesday, the 7th day in a row, as members protested over the PNB fraud and other issues. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu expressed anguish over repeated disruptions despite the discussion on bank fraud being allowed and listed on the day's agenda. The government has agreed for a discussion on issues being pressed by the opposition, but opposition parties are insisting on a debate under a rule that entails voting on the issue of bank frauds. Here's more.
After the House conducted formal business, members raised several issues, continuing the impasse that has prevailed in the House for all of last week. Congress and TMC members once again sought to raise the issue of the PNB fraud, while the AIA-DMK and the DMK demanded the constitution of the Kaveri Water Management Board. The TDP and a Congress member demanded special status to Andhra Pradesh. Sukhendu Shekhar Roy of the TMC pressed for discussion on the PNB fraud issue under rules that permit voting.
I have complied with all the conditions mentioned under Rule 169, and Chair can take a decision in consonance with the rules. Rules are for observation by both the members and the Chair. Now, if my motion is not admitted, then my principle of legitimate expectation is valid. Then the principle of natural justice is denied. Therefore, I appeal to you to consider my motion, and it should be discussed in this House.
Following the disruption, the Chair adjourned the House till 2 p.m.
I adjourned the House to meet at 2 p.m.
Even in the post-lunch session, there was no let-up in the disruptions, and the Deputy Chairman adjourned the House till Wednesday.
House is adjourned till 11 hours on Wednesday, 14th March 2018.
Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, ahead of adjourning the House, Chairman Naidu reiterated certain rules of functioning of the House. He also appealed to all floor leaders to ensure that the House functions smoothly and that members raise the bar of debate in the upper house. The chairman said repeated disruptions are showing the Rajya Sabha in poor light.
Make an observation and also make a request to the honourable members. First, it is against the rules for any member to speak without chairman's permission. Number two, it is against the traditions and also rules that to make comment while sitting, any side, any time. Any comment has to be made as part of the speech only, because unnecessarily we will be creating tension in the house and will not be able to function. Thirdly, it is almost 7 days are over. We are not able to function. I make an earnest appeal to all sides, this party or that party, all sides of the house, please see to it that the house functions. Otherwise, people will be becoming impatient, and then it is showing Rajya Sabha in a poor light, or even Parliament for that matter. That being the case, as I told you, I have received notices. Opposition want to discuss. Government said ready to discuss. Chairman said let us discuss. And that being the case, I don't find any reason for anybody to get agitated. And then I have made an appeal also. Once again, I am repeating. I request you all, please avoid bringing placards, banners to the house. It really makes me feel ashamed that I made an observation the other day. I'm saying it again in the house for the reason we were all carrying placards, banners, posters, slogans outside. Outside means not here in Parliament, in our life, public life. Some of you have experienced. Then we were sent here to argue the case of the people. So I request every one of you, please desist displaying any banners or placards or bring anything unwanted against the rules to the House. And thirdly, any issue, the issue that our Tamil Nadu MPs want to raise, or Andhra MPs want to raise, or MPs of other states want to raise, the chair is willing to allow discussion as per the rules and as per the procedure, because otherwise House cannot run. This is my earnest appeal. Please take it seriously. There is no meaning in saying this party has done this, that party has done this, they started it, and then they say you started then. So let us put an end to this, and I appeal to all of you, please, just now I said, you are a youngster, Hariprasad, and very dynamic also, please. So, see, even before Anand Sharma ji was about to raise it, I have already said that that's not going on record. But subsequently, then that subsequently clarified also. So I once again make earnest appeal to all. Leader of the House is here, the opposition deputy leader is there, and other party leaders also here. Please bear this, my appeal in mind, and see to it that the House functions effectively as per traditions, and let us raise the level of the debate in this House. That's my request to all of you.
Meanwhile, the second part of the budget session with practically no legislative business being transacted for the first 7 consecutive days, standing committees have been working silently and quietly clearing major part of the budget papers. On Tuesday, 11 different standing committees tabled their reports on the floor of the House with a record number of 38 editions. The effort was appreciated by Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu. Here's more.
Standing committees are referred to as mini parliament, since they represent all shades of political opinion. And with continued disruptions affecting working in both houses of parliament, the spotlight on Tuesday was on these standing committees when 11 of them presented 38 reports. Together, both houses have 24 standing committees. 8 are under the administrative control of Rajya Sabha. Besides debating and clearing budgetary demands of various ministries, the functioning of standing committees doesn't get affected by disruptions in Parliament. On Tuesday, the Standing Committee on Science and Technology and the Standing Committee on Defence presented 7 reports that contained demands of grants for the financial year 2018-19.
Scientific and Industrial Research, Space, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Department of Atomic Energy, and Ministry of Earth Sciences, respectively.
Good work done by the committee, these many reports.
On an average, both houses hold nearly 70 sittings every year. Compared to this, standing committees meet on an average for nearly 400 times in a year. Parliament adopted the concept of standing committees in 1993. Each standing committee has 21 MPs from Lok Sabha and 10 MPs from the Rajya Sabha. With inputs from Arvind Kumar Singh and Vineet Dikshit, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, JDU MP Kehkashan Parveen has become the first woman MP to be on the Vice Chairperson panel of the Rajya Sabha. Her term starts with effect from April 3rd. Speaking to Rajya Sabha television, Kehkashan Parveen said that Parliament is meant for debates and it pains her to see the House getting disrupted. Let's listen in.
मुझे ये एहसास होता था कि यहाँ पर बहस के लिए लोग आए हैं। जब तक हम बहस नहीं करेंगे, तब तक चर्चा नहीं होगी, तब तक कोई भी समाधान निकलेगा नहीं। और अगर हम इसी तरह से बार बार सदन स्थगन होता चला जाएगा, चाहे और अपनी बात मेरी सोच सिर्फ ये रही, जब भी मैं सदन में इस तरह का हंगामा होता था तो मुझे ये लगता था कि जब तक बहस में ही हम क्यों ना अपने आप को ये करें, और यानी अगर हम पॉजिटिव है या नेगेटिव हैं, जो भी हमारे सोच में है कि हम जनता की भलाई के लिए और जनता के लिए हम लोग यहाँ बैठे हैं, आम लोगों के लिए बैठे हैं, आम लोगों के हित के लिए बैठे हैं और देश के लिए हम लोग विकास के लिए बैठे हैं, तो अपनी बात और इस विचार से ही हम अपने इसको रख सके। सदन जो स्थगित होता था, बहुत सा दर्द लगता है।
Well, today is the 7th straight day of disruptions of proceedings in the Lok Sabha as well, since the second half of the budget session began on March 5th. As soon as the lower house began proceedings for the day, Speaker Sumitra Mahajan adjourned the proceedings for an hour after protests by members continued over different issues. The lower house was adjourned for the day following continued protests after it reassembled post-noon. Crucial biennial elections will be held for 58 Rajya Sabha seats across several states on March 23rd to fill seats of the members retiring in April-May 2018. The elections for the Rajya Sabha has become interesting as the BJP has decided to contest more seats than it is certain of winning. Here's the report.
Biennial elections for 58 Rajya Sabha seats and by-poll for 1 seat in Kerala will be held on March 23rd. The by-poll in Kerala was necessitated following the resignation of JDU MP Virendra Kumar. An interesting contest looks certain in Uttar Pradesh, with 14 candidates filing their nominations for the 10 seats. In Uttar Pradesh, where a Rajya Sabha candidate needs 37 votes to be elected, the BJP and allies have 325 members. Of this, 296 votes will get 8 candidates elected. That leaves the NDA with 29 extra votes. Similarly, in Maharashtra, the BJP has fielded 4 candidates where it is assured of 3 seats, as each seat requires 42 votes and the party already has 122 votes. In Gujarat, 3 candidates have been fielded where the party is certain of winning 2, as a candidate needs the support of 45 legislators to win. The BJP alone has 58 seats in the upper house, and the party is confident of a significant leap after the biennial elections.
मोदी जी के प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद जाहिर तौर पर 20 से ज़्यादा राज्यों के अंदर भारतीय जनता पार्टी एनडीए की सरकार है। तो जब राज्यों में हमारी सरकारें हैं तो जाहिर तौर पर राज्यसभा में सीटें भी हमारी बढ़ेंगी थी, और जब राज्यसभा में सीटें बढ़ेंगी तो मैं समझता हूं कि हम वहां पर शक्तिशाली होंगे। तो जाहिर तौर पर बहुत सारी चीज़ें कई बार जो रुक जाती थी, बिल्स रुक जाते थे, वो भी पारित होने हमारे लिए और ज़्यादा आसान होंगे।
3 vacancies each from Bihar and Maharashtra, 5 each from Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal, 4 each from Gujarat and Karnataka, 3 each from Odisha, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, 2 from Jharkhand and 1 each from Haryana, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand are up for grabs. Union Ministers Arun Jaitley, Ravi Shankar Prasad, Dharmendra Pradhan and Thawar Chand Gehlot are among the prominent candidates who have filed their nomination papers for the Rajya Sabha polls from various states. The Congress party has also announced candidates including Abhishek Manu Singhvi from West Bengal and senior journalist Kumar Ketkar from Maharashtra.
Prospects are good. Wherever we have chance of winning, we have put up our candidates and we'll win.
Each state is allotted a certain number of members. The allocation of seats is made on the basis of the population of each state. A candidate requires 1/4 of the total number of votes plus 1 to get elected. Each voter ranks his preferences, and if the first choice candidate has enough votes already or no chance of being elected, the vote is transferred to the second choice. March 15th is the last date for withdrawal of candidature. The elections will take place on March 23rd, and the counting of votes will be held on the same evening. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, moving on to other news now. 2 Congress MLAs have been expelled from the Telangana Legislative Assembly for unruly behaviour during the governor's address to the joint sitting of the legislature on Monday. The expelled members are Komati Reddy Venkata Reddy and S.A. Sampath Kumar. 11 other Congress MLAs, including the leader of opposition K. Jana Reddy, have been suspended till the conclusion of the budget session, which commenced on Monday. Meanwhile, 6 Congress members were suspended from the Telangana Legislative Council. Legislative Affairs Minister T. Harish Rao moved separate resolutions for disciplinary action against the members of the main opposition party. Speaker S. Madhusudan Achari expressed deep anguish over Monday's incidents in which Legislative Council Chairman K. Swami Gaud suffered an eye injury when an object was thrown at him after the conclusion of the governor's address. It's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Is it not a dichotomy for people to understand? You remain a constituent of the NDA, but you've withdrawn your ministers.
Politically, we are still part of the NDA. We are dissatisfied about certain things and we'll come off from the government.
TDP has been seen holding hands with UPA. Then you held hands with the Vajpayee government. Then now again you've withdrawn from BJP. So will TDP not be accused of political opportunism?
Anybody can accuse anybody of anything.
Okay.
How a party is perceived by its electorate, because it's ultimately a perception.
Telugu Desam Party is making U-turns now because Chandrababu Naidu initially said that special category status obviously is not the panacea for all the problems.
Nobody is taking any U-turns. What happened? There are certain assurances given. Andhra doesn't want doles. Give us our rights.
What is the party's strategy for 2019 elections? It's very unclear.
When the elections come, the strategy will emerge.
Watch to the point with the Telugu Desam Party leader who recently quit the union cabinet on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on Tuesday that India is determined to address the challenge of tuberculosis in the country in mission mode. Inaugurating the Delhi End TB Summit and the TB-Free India campaign in the national capital, the Prime Minister stated that India would be free of TB by 2025.
India will totally eliminate tuberculosis by 2025, 5 years ahead of the global deadline set for 2030. Prime Minister Narendra Modi assured the country at the inauguration of the End TB Summit in Delhi on Tuesday.
2030 से 5 साल और पहले यानी 2025 तक टीबी को खत्म करने का लक्ष्य अपने तय किया है.
The Prime Minister said the rate of immunization against tuberculosis has grown by 6% in the last 3.5 years. He also exuded confidence on achieving 90% immunization coverage within the next year. He also called for the participation of all stakeholders at every level to create TB-free villages, panchayats, districts and states.
Friends, भारत में टीबी को 2025 तक खत्म करने के लिए जो नेशनल स्ट्रेटेजिक प्लान बनाया गया था वह पूरी तरह ऑपरेशनल है. सरकार द्वारा टीबी से जुड़ी योजनाओं पर बजट लगातार बढ़ाया जा रहा है. इस वर्ष के बजट में ही हमारी सरकार ने इस बीमारी के मरीजों को पौष्टिक सहायता देने के लिए अतिरिक्त $100 मिलियन प्रतिवर्ष खर्च करने का प्रावधान किया है.
Speaking at the event, Union Health Minister JP Nadda said the National Strategic Plan to end TB by 2025, rolled out by the government, has already been appreciated by the global community as a model plan for combating the disease.
दुनिया को एक दिशा देने की दृष्टि से जब सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स 2030 में एलिमिनेट होने की बात कही गई, तो आपने कहा कि भारत 2025 में मुक्त होना चाहिए, उसके लिए हर तरीके की स्ट्रेटजी अडॉप्ट करनी चाहिए.
According to the Global TB Report 2017 released by the World Health Organization, India reports the highest number of tuberculosis cases in the world. An estimated 27,09,000 patients were suffering from TB in 2016 and up to 4,23,000 patients died during the year in the country. With inputs from Pancharan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, in the wake of the Punjab National Bank fraud case, the Reserve Bank of India on Tuesday discontinued issuance of letters of undertaking and letters of comfort as trade credits for imports into India. However, existing LOUs and LOCs will be honoured. These instruments are forms of trade finance often used by importers to fund their overseas purchases. Fugitive jeweller Nirav Modi obtained his first fraudulent guarantee from PNB in 2011 and managed to get 1,212 more such guarantees over the next 74 months. Well, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will visit China next month. Swaraj will participate in the Foreign Ministers' meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization or SCO. She is expected to use the opportunity to meet her Chinese counterpart on issues of mutual interests. Similarly, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is also visiting Beijing in April to participate in the SCO Defence Ministers meeting. This will be the first visit by top Indian ministers to China after the Doklam standoff last year. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi had visited India last year in December to participate in the Russia-India-China trilaterals and held separate talks with Sushma Swaraj. The SCO summit will take place in June this year in the Chinese city of Qingdao, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to attend it. And some tragic news now. 9 Central Reserve Police Force personnel were killed on Tuesday after suspected Naxals blew up their mine-protected vehicle in Chhattisgarh's Sukma district. 2 other Jawans suffered injuries in the attack. The incident took place at around 12:30 p.m. along the Kistaram-Palodi road of the district when troops of the 212th Battalion of the CRPF were out on an operation. Condemning the attack, Home Minister Rajnath Singh described the incident as deeply distressing. Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Raman Singh too strongly condemned the attack. He instructed senior officers to provide the best available medical treatment to the injured personnel.
कुछ भी हुआ है कि बहुत दुखद है, लेकिन हमारे सारे जवान पैरामिलिट्री फोर्स के CRPF के सारे जवान बड़ी बहादुरी से अपने काम का अंजाम दे रहे हैं.
Well, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has appealed to officers of Indian Postal Service to redesign and strengthen the rural postal network to make it a distribution and logistics hub. Interacting with the probationers of the Indian Postal Service, the Vice President said he was proud to be a part of India's oldest and widest service network. He called on the officers to be agents of change by transforming lives of the people living in rural areas. The Vice President said that the rural post office can become an ICT centre and retail centre, thus bringing enormous benefits to the rural populace. The Vice President said post offices play a crucial role in providing communication services to people living in rural areas. Well, days after the Telugu Desam party pulled out 2 ministers from the Modi cabinet, the party is yet to come out with convincing reasons for its pull-out decision. In an exclusive interview to Rajya Sabha television, party leader and former Union Minister Ashok Gajapati Raju listed out a number of reasons, from agrarian issues to the special status package to the non-implementation of the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act. But he had no answers as to why, when his party had so many issues, was it politically still aligned with the NDA.
But is it not a dichotomy for people to understand? Because they say that if you're part of the constituent, I mean, you remain a constituent of the NDA, but you've withdrawn your ministers.
Politically, we are still part of the NDA. We are dissatisfied about certain things and we come off from the government.
What is the party strategy for 2019 elections? It's very unclear.
When the elections come, the strategy will emerge.
Well, you can watch the entire interview on our program To The Point on Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Moving on now. In another surprising ouster from the US administration, President Trump has announced that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has been fired. Making the announcement on Twitter, the US president said that he will nominate CIA Director Mike Pompeo to succeed Tillerson. Tillerson's departure follows months of tension between him and the US president, the recent one being on the possibility of a meeting between Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. While the US president welcomed the suggestion, Tillerson had expressed apprehension. US media reports have quoted Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy Steve Goldstein as saying that Rex Tillerson hasn't spoken to the president yet and is unaware of the reason behind his firing. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this newscast. Good night.